There's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everyone, wherever you are. I want to talk today about the inner critic. So let me get started with my speech, and then I will open and welcome people to join the discussion. I would love to hear from anybody who happens to be watching live. It's a great topic, and it's something that we all have to deal with. I want to start and ask you to take a moment and be honest with yourself. Have you ever had that little voice inside your head that whispers things like, "You're not good enough. Who do you think you are? And what if you fail?" This voice, the one that fills us with doubt and fear and hesitation, it's what we call the inner critic. For most people, it's their biggest enemy. But today, I want to share something that might change the way you see that voice forever. What if I told you that your inner critic isn't actually an enemy, and instead of fighting it, you could actually make it your greatest ally? Because let me tell you the truth. It's not here to destroy you. It's actually built to protect you. But sometimes the way that it does it, it isn't always helpful. And if we don't know how to manage it, we'll let it control us. Once we learn to work with it, it becomes one of our greatest forces for personal growth, success, and confidence. So today, I want to break this down into 3 powerful steps. First, understanding the inner critic. Why does it even exist? Next, reframing the message. How can we shift this negative voice into something helpful? Finally, turning it into a motivator. What? Are you crazy, Sean? No, I want to talk to you about how we can make it our greatest ally instead of an enemy. So, as I say on my podcast, let's do this. All right. So, as I said, our first step is understanding this inner critic. Sorry about that. Gardeners decided to whack the weeds today. Uh, where does this voice, the inner critic, where does it come from? It's not random. It's not an accident. It's actually built in so that we can survive. Picture this 1,000 years ago, and you needed to stay alert to threats. Wild animals, dangerous environments, even social rejection, which could actually mean being kicked out of your tribe. Over time, our brains evolved a self-protection mechanism, that little internal voice that would warn us, be careful, don't take that risk, stay safe. Fast forward, this modern world, that same system still here. But there's a problem. There aren't any saber-toothed tigers running around. Instead, the threats we face are things like public speaking, trying something new, putting our work into the world, taking that big leap into the unknown. So, what does our brain do? It does what it's wired to do. It tries to protect us from discomfort, from failure, from rejection. But there's a twist because growth only happens outside of the comfort zone. So, this voice, designed to help us survive, often holds us back and prevents us from thriving. Once we learn to recognize that this voice isn't evil and we can stop fighting it, instead, we learn to listen to it, to decode the message, and use it to actually help us grow. So, how do we do that? We come to step 2, reframing the message. We know why we have an inner critic. But what do we do when it shows up? Imagine you're about to do something really big. You're going to apply for that promotion. You're going to start a new project. You're going to speak in front of a crowd. Or even more difficult, speak out into the Ethernet, where you don't even know necessarily who's hearing you, how many people are watching. You know nothing. Although modern streaming software does tell you how many people are watching. So that's a little bit of a plus. But that might actually make that inner critic speak up louder. And the inner critic says, "You're not ready. What are you doing? Are you crazy?" This is when we either believe that voice and back away. Like, nope, not doing that. We try to silence it. We're like, shut up, don't talk to me like that. Or pretend it. We just try to ignore it, right? We pretend it's not there. The truth is, those approaches aren't going to work. Instead, I want you to do something different. It's called reframe it. When that voice, when your inner critic says, "You're not ready," don't just accept it. Get curious. Start asking yourself some questions like, what exactly am I not ready for? Is there something I need to prepare more for? Something I need to learn? A step I need to take first? Or is this just fear trying to keep me in my little comfort zone? The inner critic, the truth is, it doesn't always lie. Sometimes it is trying to give you some useful information, an area maybe you need to improve, But a lot of times, it's just a misguided it's protesting, trying to keep you from taking that leap because there might be a perceived risk. But the truth is, you're more than capable of handling it. So the next time that voice speaks up, don't argue with it. Turn the words into questions to help you move forward. Let me share an example. If it says, you're not good enough, you can ask, what can I do to become better? If it says, what if you fail? Turn it into, what's the worst that could happen? And I can probably handle it. How do I handle it? By doing this, we take back control. We can shift from fear to strategy. I think of my own endeavors. Several years ago, I felt in my heart that I wanted to help other people through coaching, to share things that I learned through my own experiences, through my lessons, training, etc. And I started on a journey, and it was fulfilling. It was wonderful. It was magical. And then that voice came up. Nobody's listening to you anyway. Why would they listen to you? And I tried to ignore it. And then life happened. My income producing activities disappeared. We found out my wife was 9 weeks pregnant. I went, oh no, what am I going to do? My wife's going to have a baby. I have a child I'm going to have to take care of, and I have no income. So I panicked. I'll be honest. I put coaching aside. I stopped my trainings. I stopped posting on social media. Stopped it all. Said, I need to go find something safe, reliable, comfortable. And I started tutoring English. But at the end of 2022, that voice inside, the voice I like to listen to, said, what happened? Where's your passion? Where's your vision? Let's get back on that path. And so I've been on that path for it's my 3rd year. And my wife said, I'm not letting you give up this time. I said, I don't have any intention of giving up. If I go this way and it's not working, then I'm going to change my direction and go that way. So moving on to step 3, turning that inner voice, that inner critic, into a motivator. I want to tell you, this is where the real magic happens. Instead of looking at it as an enemy we have to fight, we actually turn it into fuel. Most of the world's most successful people, they still have an inner critic. Look at anyone, Elon Musk, the greatest athletes, whatever. They all have an inner critic. It doesn't go away because you get successful. But the difference is learning how to use it to your advantage. Athletes, for example, before a big game, their mind floods with the doubts. What if we lose? What if I mess up? But rather than letting those thoughts weaken them, they've learned to channel the energy into focus, preparation, and action. You can do the same. As one of the great mentors I have in my life, haven't actually met him, haven't actually spoken to him, but his work has resonated for me. And his whole story is, if they can do it, so can you. But let me share with you a simple technique. When that inner critic speaks, pause, write it down, what it says. You've got to get it out of your head and onto paper. Then take the time to rewrite it as a challenge. Instead of, I'll never succeed, right? How can I make success inevitable? and then take action. Don't wait for the critic to go silent, because it never will be. As the saying goes, courage is not an absence of fear, it's looking fear in the face and moving forward. So move forward despite that voice that's telling you all the negatives. But you will notice this. Over time, the more you practice it, it will get quieter because it'll realize more of your capability. Think of it like your personal trainer. It might be tough, but if you listen to it correctly, you can actually use it to push you to reach levels you never imagined possible. In closing, I want to talk about how to befriend this voice. At the end of the day, the inner critic is just a voice. It's not the truth. It's not your enemy. It's simply a part of you that just wants to keep you safe and comfortable and secure. But when you learn to work with it, instead of against it, you can turn it into your greatest source of strength. So my challenge to you, the next time that voice comes, don't try to shut it down. Don't believe it blindly. Listen with curiosity. Decode the message and turn it into fuel so that you can grow, improve, and actually rise to your full potential. Because when you master your inner critic, you're on the path to mastering yourself. Thank you, everyone.
Nightmares creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire. With crimson secrets and forbidden bliss, can't stay still, don't stop that thrill. My bones crave your skin, temptation within, mistakes ignite the silence. Nightmares creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire.